In 1966, the United States was in the middle of a major transformation in its coinage. The quarter dollar, one of the most widely used coins in circulation, carried with it not only a piece of history, but also a story that connects economics, minting technology, and the fascination of collectors today. At first glance, the 1966 quarter may look like an ordinary coin, something that has passed through countless hands in everyday transactions. But for coin enthusiasts and numismatists, the year 1966 marks a very interesting point in the U.S. mint's history. To understand why the 1966 quarter is significant, we need to go back just 2 years earlier. Until 1964, quarters were struck in 90% silver and 10% copper. These coins held not only face value, but also real metal value. And when the price of silver began to rise in the early 1960s, people started hoarding silver coins. By 1965, it became clear that silver coins were disappearing from circulation. In response, the U.S. government made a dramatic change. The mint shifted the composition of quarters from silver to a copper-nickel-clad composition, with a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. This change was not universally welcomed at the time, but it ensured that coins could continue to circulate without being hoarded for their silver content. The 1966 quarter, therefore, was one of the first full years of this new clad coinage system. It features the familiar design of George Washington's portrait on the obverse, created by sculptor John Flanagan, and on the reverse, the heraldic eagle with outstretched wings. Although the design had been in use since 1932, the 1966 quarter was a new era of minting, lighter in intrinsic value, but intended for durability and everyday use. But here's where the story gets more interesting. In 1965, 1966, and 1967, the mint suspended mint marks on all coins. This meant that no matter whether a quarter was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, the coin bore no mint mark. The reasoning was to discourage collecting and hoarding of coins during a period when the mint was struggling to supply enough coins for circulation. As a result, every 1966 quarter you see looks identical, with no distinguishing marks to indicate its mint of origin. In terms of production, the mint struck an enormous number of quarters in 1966, over 821 million pieces. This massive mintage was intended to satisfy public demand, and most of these coins circulated heavily, showing signs of wear within a few years. Because of this, high-grade examples, especially those with brilliant luster and free from contact marks, are much scarcer than one might imagine. Now let's talk about value and rarity. On the surface, a typical 1966 quarter found in change today may only be worth its face value, 25 cents. But collectors who specialize in Washington quarters know that certain conditions and errors can make this coin worth far more than its denomination. For example, coins that have been preserved in pristine condition, graded by professional services as mint state 67 or higher, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. These grades represent coins that are virtually flawless, with sharp details and beautiful original luster. Then there are the error coins, pieces that escape the mint with mistakes that make them unique. Some of the most fascinating 1966 quarter errors include off-center strikes, double strikes, broad strikes, and coins struck on planchets intended for other denominations. Imagine a 1966 quarter struck on a dime planchet. Such a piece not only survived the rigorous minting process, but also slipped past quality control and entered circulation. Today, such a coin could bring in thousands at auction. Even more dramatic are double denomination errors, where a coin is struck first as one denomination and then struck again as another. A 1966 quarter with such an error could be worth tens of thousands, depending on condition and rarity. Another factor that makes the 1966 quarter collectible is its place in U.S. coinage history. It marks the end of an era when coins were valued for their precious metal content and the beginning of modern clad coinage. Collectors often seek out this transitional period, recognizing that coins like the 1966 quarter represent a turning point in the American economy. When it comes to truly exceptional pieces, there are stories of 1966 quarters selling for astonishing amounts at auction. while most circulated examples hold only sentimental or historical value. The rarest coins in top grades or with dramatic mint errors have fetch prices that climb into the tens of thousands. Some collectors and dealers even claim that the right error coin could reach into the hundreds of thousands or more if the circumstances are extraordinary enough. And for those who dream big, the idea of a perfect, unique 1966 quarter, something so rare that it becomes one of a kind, fuels speculation that certain examples might be worth millions to the right buyer. It is also worth mentioning proof-like examples. Although the Mint did not produce proof sets in 1966 due to the suspension of regular proof coinage, they did strike what are known as special mint sets. These sets were intended as substitutes for proofs and contained coins with sharper details and better finishes than regular circulation strikes. A 1966 quarter from a special mint set, especially if it grades exceptionally high, can be far more valuable than a regular circulation piece. Some of these coins display cameo contrast with frosted designs and mirrored fields, which make them even more desirable to collectors. For anyone who has a 1966 quarter in their pocket change or old coin jar, the chances of striking it rich may be slim, but the possibility is always there. Each coin tells a story, and with millions of pieces struck, there's always the chance that one might carry a minting anomaly or be preserved in remarkable condition. That's part of the fun and mystery of coin collecting. The thrill of the hunt, the idea that an ordinary-looking coin could turn out to be a hidden treasure. So, what should you look for if you want to search your own 1966 quarters? Pay attention to condition first. Coins with minimal wear, sharp details, and brilliant luster are always worth setting aside. Then look for errors. Off-center strikes, double strikes, missing elements, or coins that seem oddly shaped or unusually thin could be signs of mint mistakes. Finally, if you believe you've found something special, it's always best to have it authenticated and graded by a professional service. The 1966 quarter dollar may not be made of silver, but its value lies in its history, its place in the transformation of U.S. coinage, and the potential for rare and valuable finds among the millions minted. From a suspension of mint marks to the production of special mint sets, this coin is tied to a fascinating chapter in American numismatics. And for collectors, it remains a coin of interest, a reminder that sometimes ordinary change can hold extraordinary value. As we close this journey through the 1966 quarter, remember that collecting coins is not just about the dollar amounts attached to them. It's about uncovering history, appreciating craftsmanship, and connecting with the stories that everyday objects can tell. And who knows, maybe that 1966 quarter in your hand isn't just pocket change. Maybe it's a piece of hidden treasure waiting to reveal its true worth. In 1999, the United States Mint launched one of the most ambitious and popular coin programs in American history, the 50-State Quarters program. This series ran from 1999 to 2008 and honored each of the 50 states with a unique design on the reverse of the quarter dollar. Among the very first coins to be released was the Georgia State Quarter, a coin that not only represents the rich history and culture of Georgia, but also became a favorite for collectors nationwide. The Georgia Quarter was the fourth coin issued in the program, following Delaware, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. It was officially released on July 19, 1999, and immediately captured public attention. Like all state quarters, the obverse design remained the traditional portrait of George Washington, originally sculpted by John Flanagan in 1932. However, the reverse design was where the state's unique identity shined through. The Georgia State Quarter features the state's official peach at the center, a nod to Georgia's long-standing nickname, the Peach State. Surrounding the peach is an outline of the state itself, giving the coin a strong geographical identity. Flanking the state outline are sprigs of live oak leaves, Georgia's official state tree. At the bottom is a banner that proudly reads, "Wisdom, Justice, Moderation," the state's motto. Together, these design elements reflect Georgia's agricultural heritage, natural beauty, and guiding principles. The design was created by T. James Farrell, an engraver at the United States Mint, and approved after an extensive selection process involving both state officials and the U.S. Treasury. When it was first released into circulation, the Georgia quarter became a popular keepsake. Many Americans, even those with no ties to Georgia, began saving state quarters as souvenirs, fueling one of the greatest booms in coin collecting history. In terms of mintage, the Georgia quarter was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Philadelphia produced over 451 million coins, while Denver struck more than 488 million, bringing the total mintage to nearly 940 million coins. That is an enormous number, which means that most Georgia quarters are common in circulation and easy to find. However, as with all coins, condition matters. Collectors who seek pristine mint state examples often turn to uncirculated rolls, mint sets, or certified high-grade coins. But the real excitement comes with errors and varieties. Even though the Georgia quarter had such a large mintage, mistakes during production have created coins that are far more valuable than their face value. Some of the most notable errors include off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing due to a misaligned strike. There are also double strikes and coins struck on improperly prepared planchets, resulting in unusual textures or missing details. Another dramatic error occurs when a Georgia quarter is struck on the wrong planchet entirely, such as a dime planchet or a foreign coin blank. Such coins are extremely rare and can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. One of the most fascinating varieties found among Georgia quarters involves die cracks and die breaks, sometimes referred to as cuds. These occur when part of the die breaks away during striking, leaving raised lumps or missing details on the coin. Collectors love these oddities because each one is unique, and depending on severity, some can fetch impressive premiums. High-grade Georgia quarters also command attention. A coin graded mint state 67 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can bring in significant value. In fact, certain Georgia quarters with flawless surfaces, sharp details, and brilliant luster have sold for thousands. While most circulated examples are worth just 25 cents, those few that have been perfectly preserved are the true treasures. Let's not forget the proof versions. In addition to circulation strikes, the U.S. Mint also produced Georgia quarters in special collector sets. Proof coins, struck at the San Francisco Mint, were made with specially polished dies and planchets, resulting in a mirror-like finish and frosted details. These coins were never meant for circulation and were sold directly to collectors. The San Francisco Mint struck both clad and silver proof versions of the Georgia quarter. Silver proofs, made of 90% silver, are particularly desirable and worth several dollars each, even more in higher grades. Beyond its value, the Georgia quarter carries symbolic meaning. The peach represents Georgia's agricultural pride, especially its world-famous peaches. The live oak symbolizes strength and resilience, while the motto, wisdom, justice, moderation, reflects the guiding principles of the state's government. Together, these elements make the coin not just a piece of currency, but a miniature work of art and a representation of Georgia's heritage. For many people, the Georgia quarter was part of their first experience with coin collecting. Children, families, and even casual savers began looking through their change to find state quarters, often storing them in specially designed maps and albums. This widespread popularity helped introduce a new generation to the hobby of numismatics. Even today, decades after its release, the Georgia quarter holds a special place in many collections. So what should you look for if you come across a Georgia quarter today? Start by checking the condition. Coins that are bright, shiny, and free from scratches are always more desirable. If you spot an unusual feature like doubling, misalignment, or missing details, it could be an error coin worth far more than face value. And if you happen to own a proof version, especially a silver proof, keep it safe. It's already a collector's item. The Georgia State Quarter reminds us that even in the smallest objects, history and art intersect. It's a coin that tells a story of heritage, agriculture, and the values that define a state. And while most Georgia quarters may only be worth 25 cents, the rarest examples, whether through condition or minting error, can be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more. As collectors continue to hunt for the best examples, the Georgia quarter remains a shining piece of numismatic history, a testament to the success of the 50-state quarters program, and proof that sometimes the change in your pocket can hold hidden treasures.